Thanksgiving was always my mother's favorite holiday. She treated it like a performance, as if the entire year led up to that one dinner where everything had to look perfect. The table would be decorated days in advance, the silverware polished until it reflected the ceiling lights, and the house filled with the smell of roasted turkey and cinnamon long before any guests arrived. Growing up, I believed those dinners meant we were a happy family. We laughed loudly, told stories about childhood memories, and pretended that nothing ugly ever existed beneath the surface. But that year was different, even if I didn't realize it at first. I remember walking into the dining room and noticing how tense my sister looked. She wasn't usually quiet. In fact, she was normally the loudest person at the table, teasing everyone and turning every story into something dramatic. But that evening, she barely touched her food. She kept glancing at our parents, like she was building up the courage to say something. I thought maybe she was stressed about work or going through another breakup. I had no idea she was about to change everything. Dinner started like it always did. My father carved the turkey while making jokes about how he should have been a chef. My mother smiled proudly, pretending not to notice that her mashed potatoes were slightly oversalted. Our cousins laughed, my aunt complimented the decorations. Everything looked normal. Everything sounded normal. But underneath it all, there was something heavy in the air, like a storm waiting to break. Halfway through the meal, my sister suddenly put down her fork. The sound of metal hitting porcelain echoed louder than it should have. Conversations slowed. She stood up. At first, I thought she was going to make a toast. That wouldn't have been unusual. But her hands were shaking, not slightly, visibly. Her eyes were glossy, like she had been holding back tears for hours. "I can't do this anymore," she said. The room went silent. My father laughed nervously. "Can't do what?" he asked, trying to keep the mood light. But my sister didn't sit back down. She looked directly at our parents. Not at me, not at anyone else, just them. "You need to tell them the truth," she said. My mother's smile disappeared completely. I felt my stomach drop, though I didn't know why yet. A strange instinct told me this wasn't about a small family argument. This wasn't about borrowing money or some forgotten apology. This was something bigger. "What truth?" my cousin asked quietly. My father stood up too, his chair scraping harshly against the floor. "This isn't the time," he said firmly. But my sister shook her head. "If not now, then when? We've lied for long enough." Lied. That word hit me harder than anything else. My mind started racing. Lied about what? What could possibly be so serious that she would choose Thanksgiving dinner in front of our entire extended family to reveal it? My mother's face turned pale. I had never seen her look afraid before. Angry, yes. Disappointed many times. But afraid? Never. And that's when my sister said the sentence that split my world in half. "They need to know that she isn't your biological daughter." For a moment, I didn't understand she was talking about me. It felt like the words were floating in the air without meaning. Everyone's eyes slowly turned toward me. My heart started pounding so loudly I could barely hear anything else. "What are you talking about?" I whispered. No one answered immediately. My father ran a hand through his hair. My mother looked like she might faint. "She deserves to know," my sister continued, her voice breaking. "She's 30 years old. She should have known years ago." My entire body felt numb. 30 years old. My entire life built on a foundation I didn't even know was unstable. "Tell me she's lying," I said, looking directly at my parents. Neither of them spoke, and in that silence, I realized the truth. Everything I believed about my identity, my childhood, my connection to this family, it suddenly felt uncertain. My mind started replaying moments from the past, the times I felt slightly different, the times relatives joked that I didn't look like anyone else, the subtle favoritism toward my sister that I had always tried to ignore. It all made sense now. My mother finally spoke, her voice barely audible. "We were going to tell you," she said. "We just didn't know how." "When?" When were you going to tell me? No answer. My sister started crying. She deserves to know. She's 30 years old. She should have known years ago. My entire body felt numb. 30 years old. My entire life built on a foundation I didn't even know was unstable. Tell me she's lying, I said, looking directly at my parents. Neither of them spoke, and in that silence, I realized the truth. Everything I believed about my identity, my childhood, my connection to this family, it suddenly felt uncertain. My mind started replaying moments from the past, the times I felt slightly different, the times relatives joked that I didn't look like anyone else, the subtle favoritism toward my sister that I had always tried to ignore. It all made sense now. My mother finally spoke, her voice barely audible. "We were going to tell you," she said. "We just